What is a relaxer?
Hair is dead.
Your hair doesn't grow past that limit ever.
It works quicker. But what's corrosion? Corrosion is eating away at something.
Oh, eating away. Don't know if you've seen, but Revlon is being sued.
They should not be sold in shops.
I'm sat here like...
Okay, so I'm going to explain.
Hello, and welcome to the Texture Talks podcast. For anybody that is following my socials, you will likely already know my special guest. This wonderful woman is a senior consultant trichologist. She has 29 years of experience and she has a specialism in curly and afro hair. More than that, she is also the founder of an incredible business called Curl ID. And these guys are a digital trichology service where they will do a personal consultation. They will analyze your hair follicle and then off the back of that, create a trichology report just for you and then be able to give you guidance, product recommendations. I truly believe that these guys could save all of our scalps. So I'd like to formally introduce Samantha Stewart. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Paige. Thanks
How
for having
are
me
you?
today. I'm really good, thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. Yeah. I'm truly, truly very excited to kind of spread some of the knowledge and the professional guidance that I've gotten from you. And I thought it would be good to start by just getting to know you a little bit better for the listeners. So first of all, because I only learned what this word meant when I met you, Sam, what is a trichologist?
So a trichologist is someone who specialises in hair and scalp disorders.
Okay.
So trichology is the science, function and structure of the hair and scalp.
Damn, okay. Why did you choose to become a trichologist?
Well, if I'm honest, 30 years ago, I'm almost celebrating 30 years of doing trichology, actually 32 years ago,
okay, this is
I
exciting.
wanted to become a session hairdresser.
Okay.
I wanted to work for the BBC and I went to the London College of Fashion to do hairdressing.
Amazing.
And I was actually taught the science of hairdressing by trichologists. And I realised that sort of challenged me more than doing hairdressing.
Yeah.
And just by chance, there happened to be a job in where I am now, in the
Okay.
And fate, really, because at that time, I didn't know what a trichologist was.
Okay, so it's not just us then. No? Okay, fabulous. If I'm honest, I do think that having access to somebody that understands the science of anything is a huge deal for me. In the same way that you could go to Boots and you could speak to somebody that's telling you about your skincare regime, or you could go to a dermatologist. Yes. We both know which I would go to. I guess the next thing that would be good to understand, Curl ID. What started that business?
Rachel. So Rachel, as you say, has beautiful hair.
Yes.
She's a mother of 4 children, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Remember, 4 beautiful children that all have completely different curl patterns.
All of them have different textures?
Yeah, actually, they do. I think her 2 little girls have a similar texture. So, yeah, she pretty much has sort of 5 textures
My God.
to deal with. And I think this kind of struck a chord with her because she was trying to figure out, firstly, how to deal with her hair.
Yeah.
And then having children that had very, very different textures. She sort of thought, there must be a way that somebody can help with this.
Surely.
So she looked up a trichologist.
Okay.
And by chance
She
came
found
across
you.
me. And by chance, I answered the phone.
Oh my,
Because
it was meant to
could have been
be.
very different.
Yes, it could. Like the universe said, this is happening.
And I also had time to talk.
And I don't think that's really something you have most of the time. No, okay. So this was supposed to go on then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she posed the question to me, which initially I said no to, because
Why?
what she asked,
Yes.
in its simplistic terms, couldn't be done.
Okay.
So could I get sent a piece of hair and analyse it in my clinic as it was? And I was like, no, not with the equipment that I have.
Right.
But
yes.
And then we had a conversation and I was like, you know what, this actually deserves more time. So let's set up a Zoom.
Okay.
And we'll talk about this properly because I can't think now, but there's
there's something there that you want to really further explore?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So there is a machine that I know that I don't have access to because it costs £500,000. But God. I think we could do so. So we had a number of conversations.
Yes.
And the idea from what she originally thought grew and grew and grew. And then we sort of figured out more things that we could do to test hair. And, you know, give people sort of ideas about their hair health, what products are best suited for them, hair management. So it's not just about products, because sometimes you might get the most amazing products, but if you don't use them correctly.
Oh, no, I understand, Sam. I've done it many, many times. I hoard heavily because I'll buy it. And then it's only maybe if I see something online where it says, hey, you're supposed to use this conditioner and then base your scalp with this. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad that I didn't know that. So you're 100% right. It's a problem.
Yeah. So, and that was the birth of Curl ID. So Curl ID. So over the last year, this has grown and grown and grown and added many, many facets to what originally started off as taking a piece of hair and sampling it, analysing it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I've literally never heard of anything like it. And I know when I first met you, I was truly stunned because I couldn't comprehend a service that was that personalised, because that's been my issue for years. If I'm following you on YouTube or if I'm on your TikTok, that's great. But do we have the same curls? It could look the same. And at the moment, everyone's kind of grouping everybody up into 4C, 4B, 3X. Great. But realistically, it's not the same, is it?
No. And that's that. There's a reason behind that, and I understand it, but it's too rigid.
It is.
Because depending on your heritage, you'll have many different curl patterns, many different hair types. So I found I don't work with that because I work with people coming in to see me. And I have the luxury of being able to look at every square inch of their scalp and their hair. So we wanted to sort of replicate me online. So we decided, I sat down and devised questions that I would need to know about that person, for me to be able to then look at the hair, put all this together, and then come up with, at the end of it, a report on that individual's lifestyle, what they do, health, to a degree, because obviously we can't go into everything with that because there's only so much information we can get.
I mean, I agree, but I remember I was talking to my mum, and she was saying that if I was to do a hair test, and it was one of the really standard ones online, how do they put into the fact that I'm going through the menopause? How do they account for that? And I was sat there like, Mum, I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea.
Whereas I could, because therefore they'd be able to give them that information. I would know what those reduced hormones could do to hair. And from what the person tells me as well. So if they're sort of saying, my main concern is I've lost my curl pattern. It's thinning, it's falling. I would be able to say, okay, due to menopause, this is what happens.
Exactly.
Texture of the hair changes, condition of the hair can change. So
this is wizardry. No, genuinely, I'm so excited to grow with this business. I think it would be really nice to know as well what the end goal is. Like, what's the big mission?
So we want to grow a community. So my thing has always been that I wish that someone could do my hair how I can do my hair.
Yes.
But I don't want anyone that comes to me, whether it's as a trichologist or in capacity as a hairdresser, for them to leave with something they cannot replicate. So my thing is about giving power back to every single person that has textured curly hair, because we don't have that. We're so reliant on an industry that may not always be able to give us and deliver what we need.
No.
I want to impart, and this is what Curl ID is, we want to impart knowledge, but factual knowledge.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to think it's going to take me 20 hours to wash my hair. I'm not going to do it. I can't wear this style because I don't know.
This is so needed. It's a real issue. And I did bring this up, I think, on the first episode that I did, where it's all well and good me going to the hairdresser, Sam, and looking like Beyonce when I leave. But then within 24 to 48 hours, I look a hot mess. And I do not know how to maintain that perfect hairstyle that you've managed to fashion for me in that 3-hour hair appointment. And there's very minimal in the way of aftercare directions and instructions. So this is kind of where you guys would come and save my life.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Great. Well, let's move on to the topic for the day.
Yes.
So this is a topic that I know causes a lot of contention in our community, and it has done for years. And that is the issue of relaxers. I feel like my body tenses up every time I mention the word. And I've had some good relationships with it, mainly when I had a pixie, because I didn't have a lot of hair for it to break. But before that, when I was 15, 16, Lord Jesus, it took everything from me. So I just thought, for me personally, and for everybody else out there that's currently going through it with a relaxer or thinking about even going down that path, let's bring a professional on. Let's talk about it, and let's really myth bust some of the things that we've been hearing and understand what we're playing with, because it's serious stuff.
It is.
Start at the beginning, shall we, Sam? What is it? What is a relaxer?
So a relaxer is something that actually breaks down bonds within the hair, which are called disulfide bonds.
Right, okay.
And these, if you imagine a ladder and you've got the rungs of the ladder, that's your hair in its normal state, and the disulfide bonds run across vertically.
Okay.
When you do a relaxer, they get broken. And then depending on what you do afterwards, because the chemical just breaks down these bonds.
Right.
And allows you then to mold the hair into whatever shape you want. Generally with relaxer, we want to make it
straight or smooth.
Yes, we won't use the word straight.
I was like, smooth?
We will get on to why we won't use the word straight.
Sorry, Sam.
So you then smooth the hair.
Yes.
To loosen your natural curl.
Right. That sounds very calm.
And that is what should be done.
Right. Because my next question was going to be, is there a right way to use it? Because I've been using it wrong then for a while. Yeah?
Of course.
Okay.
So following the guidelines. So following the manufacturer's guidelines. And the issue with this is most people, when I ask them, when you've had your hair relaxed, what happens? You sit in the chair, they may or may not base your scalp, which doesn't always have to, because some of lie and no lie are very different. But for most people, it's better to sort of put a little bit of...
Do you mean on the full scalp? Because
so sometimes we'll do the hairline.
I normally do the perimeter, but then the actual scalp itself, you're saying, needs a little base?
If you're using lye, because obviously that's much more corrosive, so that can burn the scalp.
So there's two different types of relaxers, aren't there? There's lye and no lye. So if you're looking for the lye relaxer, what's the difference?
So the strength and the chemicals that are within them.
Okay.
Yeah. So one works quicker than the other. And people say one makes your hair more dry, one makes it straighter. So there's difference in them.
Okay.
So what will happen is some people find that lye actually doesn't dry out the hair as much, but
I didn't know these things.
But the problem is it's quicker. It works quicker. So therefore it can be more damaging. And the no lye.
Right.
So, but the problem with this,
yes,
if they're not used correctly, it doesn't matter what you put on your hair, you're going to end up with the end result, which is breakage.
Yeah.
So they have different chemicals in them,
and
they work differently. So therefore, you've got to really adhere to the manufacturer's guidelines. So if you base the scalp, you base the scalp.
Okay.
Certainly with lye, most people find, and this is what happened many, many years ago, you put it on and your scalp would literally burn.
No, I know.
And then you go to another salon and they may use no lye, and you think, oh, it doesn't burn. But then the problem with that is the timing often is judged on burning.
It is.
And this isn't correct. None of this is correct. So therefore, whatever you use, you follow the manufacturer's guidelines.
Yeah, I haven't. And if you're out there and you're feeling like you're being attacked, it's okay. We're all being attacked, because I didn't either. I actually don't know what the manufacturer's guidelines look. Are they on the box? Are they inside the box?
And I will tell you.
I don't even know where they are.
Having a relaxer, what should happen is, as I say, you have your hair base.
Yes.
And then you'll have the relaxer applied, and that starts from the back.
Yes.
Because that hair is can be more resistant. It's often covered, so therefore it's a little bit stronger at the front.
Yeah.
Can be a little bit more damaged because it's more exposed to the elements.
Yes.
You work your way from front to back.
Yeah.
Then you smooth.
Okay.
So total time for a relaxer. What do you think a total time is?
Oh, Sam, don't ask me. 20 minutes.
Okay, and when would you start timing?
After it's all on, if I'm honest.
Okay, right. So that's your first mistake.
Okay.
So the relaxer guidelines have a total time, which are anything from 13 to 18 minutes.
I'm sorry.
Time.
Like including the application?
Including the application.
Oh, my God.
So the second you have had your hair smoothed.
Yes.
And you are left, you are entering into overprocessing.
Okay.
And you're not alone. Everybody does this.
Yeah.
And I think it is a lack of knowledge.
I just had no idea, and I just think to myself, someone should have said something.
And the issues with relaxers is they're alkaline. They have to be alkaline, so therefore they swell the cuticle, open them so they can get into the cortex to change the disulfide bonds.
Oh my God.
What this means is they are... So if you think of hair removal cream, the alkalinity of hair removal cream is about 12.
Okay.
So that means on the pH scale.
Yes.
So hair removal cream is a depilatory, which means it dissolves disulfide bonds and dissolves the hair.
Okay.
A relaxer is anything between 9 and 11, 12.
Oh.
So when you see those images and you
yes,
one and that lady's hair was
literally slipping from her scalp.
She had completely
melted.
her hair because of the over-processing.
Okay.
So that's why anyone using these needs to have an understanding of the chemistry.
Yeah.
And actually needs to understanding of how the hair is actually configured. So what's involved.
I have never been particularly good at science. I don't know why any of my science teachers would be listening to this, but they know this for fact. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I won't need science in life. I'll be absolutely fine. I'll make my way with math and English. But now I'm sat here thinking about the scabs. Like, no, I did need a bit of science because that all makes sense now you're saying it, but I've never thought about it. What would you say the biggest misconception is that people would have around relaxers?
That they straighten hair.
Like me.
But I totally understand that. So when anyone ever says to me, I wanted my hair straightened, I said, well, that's your first mistake because they are making your hair more manageable and they're breaking down your curl.
Yeah.
But within that time frame, somebody would get straight hair.
Yes.
Because their curl breaks down very quickly.
Yeah.
Somebody who has a very tight curl, obviously it's going to relax that curl. So I'm a terminology buff. So if anyone says the wrong word, no, forget that. It's a relaxer.
Yeah.
So the fact that most people that apply them are waiting for the hair to be straight.
That's the problem. And that's when we start ending with bloody scabs. And
because
it's not supposed to be.
No, it's a corrosive. I think there's a sort of guideline that anything over 11 on the pH is classed as being corrosive, which what's corrosion? Corrosion is eating away at something.
Oh, eating away, damn.
So
you're right.
And that's how I think of things. I think of them in the most simplest terms.
Yeah.
And when you start to have that understanding, you start to realise how dangerous these products are in the wrong hands.
I mean, I wasn't really considering getting relaxer anyway, but my stomach feels a kind of way from this conversation. So I think it's something that I'm glad we're discussing now because I'm going to take my time and I will talk to my family members about this / send them a link to this podcast so that they have that awareness because I didn't know any of these things. Keeping all of that into consideration when we're looking at how dangerous it is, my next question is a really serious one. There is a huge amount of misinformation going on out there in the world about what relaxers can and can't do to our bodies, right? And one of the most recent stories, I don't know if you've seen, but Revlon is being sued because the people that have used their hair relaxers are now saying they gave me cancer. This is so serious. And I'm thinking, I read the article, I had a look at the study they were making reference to, and the study in particular, it seemed like there was an element of mitigation where it sort of said there are certain ingredients that can lead to cancer. We haven't looked at the brand specifically in question. And I just think without real clarification as to whether or not you can solidly correlate cancer to a relaxer, it can cause a level of scaremongering, in my opinion. So from a professional, would you say that there is a way that you can confidently connect relaxer to any medical conditions such as cancer, either short-term or later on in life?
I mean, there must be a way in which you could test something, but I've sort of read a couple of these articles as well. And even the plaintiffs, their sort of scientific team have said, we cannot find the ingredient. But I think what has to, and I've been thinking about this all week.
Yeah.
The difficulty is conditions. There's variables. So when a company makes a product, most things can do harm. Yeah. And this is the truth. But when a company would be testing a product, they test it under certain conditions. Okay. So therefore, they're not going to test it on humans. I'm assuming they test on animals. More than likely. But the difficulty is that's not the same condition. So they're testing, obviously, to see if there's any sort of real sort of serious like poisons or exactly, completely eroding away. But what the problem with relaxers, and I've always found this, is firstly they should not be sold in shops because most people do not use them correctly. Yep. Even in some hairdressers, they're not used correctly. I was speaking to somebody yesterday and she said, I was told I'd get my hair relaxed every 4 weeks. So therefore, the conditions of that use have already changed. Yes, they have. The simple fact is they're being left on for longer. So therefore, that's going to exhibit a completely different effect on that person than what the manufacturer was planning. Yeah, right. Because if you use it for X amount of time, which is the correct amount of time, it will not corrode through your skin. So therefore, if you use it incorrectly, you're getting wounds that are bleeding, they're getting to the live part of the skin. They're breaking away and they're corroding away that epidermis, which is the top layer of the skin, which is pretty much made up of dead skin cells, which help to protect us from pathogens and toxins from entering. You're then getting to the live part, which therefore is where you've got all the tissue fluid, the blood, everything that's entering into your skin. So therefore, the manufacturers, I mean, I'm not that kind of, I'm not a scientist.
No, but you've hit me with some knowledge. Yeah, it makes sense.
Actually figure out, they have to do the testings under the conditions at which these are used.
Yeah.
These are not how they are indicating them to be
used. But
used.
let's be honest, they're how they're being used.
So therefore, if they're suggesting that you get them done every 12 weeks and people are getting them done every 4 weeks, they suggest you leave them on for no more than 18 minutes.
That's still wild to me.
People are leaving them on.
Oh, God, yes, for way longer than 18 minutes.
The variables are completely different. So it's a really difficult one, and it's one that it's been going around for many, many years, and there isn't a definitive answer.
Yeah.
But I would always say, do your due diligence.
Yeah.
If you're going to embark on something, make sure the person that is actually carrying out this relaxation knows what they're doing.
Ideally, that would be the first step.
Yeah. And it is difficult because, the companies are coming back and saying, look, we're doing testing, which I'm sure they are.
Yeah, but you have to question, but under what environment?
Yes. And also you've got to look at genes. So there's people that are predisposed.
Yes.
I think you've got to look at phenotypes. So there's environmental factors that will change and cause mutations. We're discovering in trichology lots of different sort of hair loss conditions.
Okay.
Very prevalent in black women. And it's a mutated gene. So who's to say that also, are these women suffering from that condition as well?
There's a lot to consider. Yeah. It's not as simple as I bought this from Revlon and now I have cancer.
Yeah. And it's something that really does have to be brought to the spotlight.
It does.
You need to be aware. The companies need to actually say, you cannot use this unless you have a license.
Yeah.
We are not going to sell this over the counter because nobody reads instructions.
No, I know. They really don't.
And also we're a nation now where everything's really quick and we can't be bothered, so we scan things.
Listen, I do quick scans on everything. But I think what you've said is correct. So it may not be a case of saying, hey, this might cause you cancer because you just don't know, but it may be a case of having more responsibility about who you give that relaxer to.
Yeah. You have to, because if you're giving something that, one, can corrode the skin and actually cause scarring and, wounds that can become infected.
I had a bald patch for a really long time. Yeah. Like the hair wouldn't grow back for, I would say, close to half a year.
Yeah. And if you cause a scar on an area, you're not going to grow hair. So
no.
Even if that is the least that it does, that shouldn't be allowed.
Agreed. Okay. I find it fascinating because I always just hear it causes this cancer or uterine cancer and these different things. And it's not to say that I want to sort of disregard it completely, but we're told at this point that we shouldn't even be eating butter or white salt. So it's just an additional stress source that I just wanted to find out if there was any real way to check or confirm.
I think the thing is, there is a correlation.
Yeah.
And they have found a group of people that, uterine cancer is very rare.
Yes.
So they need, to me, it needs to be addressed.
Yes.
Because if there's any risk that something...
then we need to have that awareness.
And therefore, it needs to be adapted. We know smoking...
Yes, we're all aware.
So therefore, they have put the guidelines on there and they restrict how that product is sold.
Yes.
And that's the difference. That's where the companies need to step in now, because there's no point stepping in when it's discovered that it does,
and everybody's got it. Yes, I agree.
So, this has been brought to our attention. We need to deal with it. We need to deal with how it's used.
Amazing. Okay, that helps. And it makes me feel like I know where we need to be going, because it can be a bit overwhelming. The other thing that really bothered me, and I think you would have seen this on my TikTok, listen, it's a little baby, 3 to 4 years old, seemingly getting a relaxer. I didn't like it. No one else liked it. No. And I would like to know, to your knowledge, are there any negative impacts attached to using any kind of chemical straighteners or relaxers on a young child's scalp?
I mean, I've been looking this up as well because it's not even something that I would ever entertain. Because
you wouldn't consider it because you wouldn't think.
No.
Right.
I looked at sort of what the age level was, and it varies.
Really?
Massively. Yeah. So I saw not under 12, no one under 10, no one under 5. And I was thinking 5. The scalp, the top layer of the scalp is thinner, so therefore the sensitivity. I would assume the companies would take that into account.
You would hope.
The hair is finer. So therefore, you know, our hair changes throughout our lives due to hormones.
Yeah.
So puberty. So whenever somebody comes to me and they, you know, I might be having a mother or a father as a patient.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, my daughter wants to relax their hair. And I'm like, how old is your daughter? And they're like, I'm like, no, 12.
No.
15. So
You'll shut it down.
Personally, just don't let them. Because one, they may change their mind. And once you've gone down that route of relaxing, it's really hard.
I had it at 14. I cut it out at 26.
Yeah, it's really difficult. And at the moment, there's so many products on the market that are non-chemical softening, straightening, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
That will aid the hair to be a little bit smoother. Education.
Yeah.
You know, I understand if you're a mother, especially like if you're, you know, a mother with sort of a mixed race child,
yes,
you don't know how to deal with
this.
Fair
enough.
You don't know where to go.
Yes.
So therefore, for me, it's about education, and it's about actually realizing that with the right products and the right skills, no matter what hair you have on your head, it's manageable. I really get really upset with, as I say, terminology is my thing. People are like, oh, my hair's really unmanageable, it's awful, it's I'm like,
difficult.
Stop.
Yeah.
Don't use those words.
It's negative.
I can help. Somebody can help. And this is what we want to do with Curl ID.
Yeah.
We want to help those parents that have got that child.
Yes.
Where, you know, children's hair can be knotty because it can be finer.
Yeah, it can.
We want them to be able to go somewhere and go, oh, wow, they've just shown me how to detangle my child's hair.
Now I don't see my child's hair as difficult because now I have the knowledge to know how to do it. Everything seems hard until you know what you're doing.
Exactly. If you've never had difficulty with your hair and then you have a child with
it's fair. It's fair.
So to me, I personally, and this is my own opinion, one as a mother and one as a trichologist, I wouldn't go anywhere near a relaxer until somebody was at least 18.
Yeah.
But that's because, you know, age brings wisdom.
Yeah.
I just wish I never did anything to my hair when I was younger.
Yeah.
But I don't judge somebody wanting to relax, an adult wanting to relax their hair. That's absolutely fine. But I think as a parent, we have a responsibility to ensure that we do no harm to our children.
And that potentially is a grey area with that.
And I just think if you take them somewhere and that person doesn't know what they're doing, the scalp is more sensitive, the hair is more fragile.
Yeah.
You don't want to do something that can actually cause damage and long-term damage.
That's
because
fair.
If you start to burn the scalp.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think that leads really nicely to my last question. It's very, very easy for us to sort of give a really detailed breakdown as to all of the reasons why, you know, relaxer is dangerous, etc. But the fact is it can be used correctly. Like that's the problem. We're all using it wrong and then cursing the name of the relaxer as if there aren't instructions in the box. There are instructions in the box. We can use it right. So for those of us that have been raised with sense, not me, and actually do want to take this information away with them and get a relaxer for whatever style, because as I said, the pixie that I had, it was perfect, right? What advice would you give if you were trying to help them once they'd got it and they'd got it done by a professional, they'd followed the instructions, now it's all on them to try and retain their length and look after their hair whilst relaxed? Is there any like golden bullet of advice that you could give?
Well, it's, you know, ensuring that they keep their hair in good condition.
Yeah.
Because once you sort of put any chemical on your hair, you've changed that structure of the hair and you've potentially caused damage.
Yeah.
So hair is dead. Let's just get that out there.
I'm sat here like...
No one seems to realise that the hair above our scalp...
So as soon as it peeks out, it's dead.
It is dead. So therefore it is under the influence of every single thing we do to it, and it's slowly weathering, breaking down. So whatever else we do to it, all the vitamins and water and everything that we drink and take does not affect the hair that is on our head. It has affected the hair as it was growing. So the live part of the hair is the follicle, which is within the scalp. The outer part that we see is the hair shaft.
So can you do anything to fix that once it's come out?
Certain types of damage. But what you want to do, so when it pops out of your head, your hair is healthy.
Okay.
It's brand
it's just
new.
Come out fresh.
It's fine.
Right.
Whatever we do to it potentially causes damage.
Right.
So if all we do to it is relax it, bleach it, blow dry it.
Yeah.
Put on, you know, loads of products that aren't really very good.
Dry it.
Coat the hair with sort of impenetrable ingredients.
Yeah.
We're going to cause more degradation
of
that hair.
Yeah.
So the idea is keeping it well trimmed.
Yeah.
Knowing the limit, your length limits, because
what does that mean?
Because we all want to have really, really long hair, and some people can maintain very, long hair. And they'll often come in and go, oh, do I want to get it cut this month or this, this time or, these 12 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I want to grow it. And I'm like, your hair's still growing.
Yes.
But if you've got damaged ends, they're just going to break away. You're never going to realise that length. So my thing is ensuring that my hair grows very well to my bra strap.
And that's kind of its limit.
That's my genetic.
So you can have a legitimate limit where your hair doesn't grow past that limit ever.
Okay, so I'm going to explain. So each individual hair has a genetic predetermined growth rate, which is anything between 2 to 7 years.
Right.
So that individual hair, which on our head, we can have anything from 90 to sort of 150,000 hairs, like everybody.
Okay, just a general amount. Yeah, okay,
we have that on our head. So each one of those hairs grows for a predetermined length of time, cycles out and starts again. And they're all growing at different times. So our hair is constantly growing.
Right.
But it grows for a set period of time.
And then
it cycles out. And so all those hairs that we see are hairs that have reached the end of their cycle and they've transitioned out. So you can never cut your hair and grow your hair for 100 years. And it would grow to your predetermined.
So there's no way to become Rapunzel, is what you're telling us, like that.
If that's not your.
If you don't have Rapunzels in your family, then it's not going to happen.
So I think this is where people kind of don't really understand because they
I didn't know this.
They judge growth from here.
Yeah.
So I'll have people that will come to me and they've said, oh, I've got to get my colour done, but my hair doesn't grow. And I said, why are you getting your colour done? Because I've got roots. And I'm like, what does that translate to? And they're like, roots. And I'm like, growth. They're like, no, but it's not grown. And I'm like, your hair grows out of your head. You're just not retaining your length. So if you cut your hair, you're changing the length of your hair.
Okay.
So I have a length where my hair grows. So when I was saying about your length, when you start to blow dry chemicals on your hair, you're drying your hair.
Yes.
So if I just grow my hair to my bra strap, those ends don't maintain themselves as well. So if I want to wear my hair blow dry, I tend to keep it to my shoulder because I know for me, I can do what I want to my hair and I can maintain
that length. Okay.
But it's not how much my hair grows. It's where I know that my hair is happy with me doing things to it, colouring it, blow drying it.
Good to know.
You've got to make sure that you might want to grow your hair.
Yes.
But you've still got to trim your hair.
Okay, so trimming is key.
You can't just grow it. So this is the problem. People have their hair relaxed and have chemicals put on it, but they're not maintaining the health of their hair and the integrity of it.
Okay. Sam, I promise you that I didn't know half of those things. And this is exactly why I brought Sam here. You're welcome. Because the amount of times I will spend 5 to 10 minutes with this woman and leave and have to sit in a dark room and really just look at everything she said. So I hope that was very helpful for you guys because it was for me. I've taken a lot away from that. However, if there are any lingering questions that you have, especially now that you realize that this lady is bursting with information, then please either find her on Instagram. So you can go to @thecurlid and you'll be able to drop them a direct message, follow them, or you can go to Curl ID's website. So www.curlid.com and look at how you can basically get this woman to trust your hair and look after your hair personally, which I just think is golden. And if you want another way, you can go to our Texture Talks website, go on the season 1 tab, scroll down to Sam's episode, which is episode 3, and you can send her a message on the contact form. Okay. So the last piece of this episode I am so excited about. Sam is so kind and she has offered her expertise to our listeners. And I selected the ones that I thought would help the most people and the ones that I also didn't know the answer to. So I've got them here. You ready, Sam? First challenge. I'm assuming it's a lady, but I'm going to try and make sure I'm staying liberal. So they have 4B hair and it's currently in braids. They say, how can I thicken my hair when it's naturally thin? I've cut my hair off and it's still grown back relatively thin. Is there any way I can thicken it or is that just my hair texture?
Okay, so this is quite interesting because there's not a lot of information there. So they have said that their hair is naturally thin.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that it's been that way their whole life. They haven't said how old they are.
No.
So whenever somebody sort of says, can I thicken my natural hair? My natural diameter, my hair, no.
Okay, that's it.
That is what you are born with.
Yeah.
You have finer hair. You cannot change that. You could use a product that can swell the hair and give you a temporary fuller strand.
It doesn't sound healthy to me to do that. Is that a good idea?
Well, it depends what it is.
Okay.
There's different ingredients. So there might be a volumizing shampoo.
Right.
Put something in that literally washes out.
Okay, all right.
So it goes in, might go on the outer part of the hair.
So it's just maybe if you've got like an event, maybe, and then it just washes out.
It washes
fine.
out. Very, very temporary. We're talking temporary.
Okay,
here.
all right, fine.
We never talk about sort of swelling the sort of inner part of the hair because that's changing the structure.
Yeah.
So there's lots of sort of products on the market that will adhere to the hair.
Yeah.
And they just make it feel a little bit fuller.
Okay.
But that is temporary.
Okay.
So the answer to that question is no.
Yeah.
You cannot. But you also have to look at if that person was like, well, no, my hair hasn't always been thin, but it has been for X amount of years.
Then maybe you can look at
You look at what they're doing to the hair. So
Yeah.
are they causing it to thin?
Yeah.
By sort of restrictive hairstyling?
Yeah.
Or have they got a systemic issue where they've actually are losing hair? So if someone's
Yeah.
having braids, you're not always going to be able to see how much hair you're losing daily.
True.
So I would sort of suggest to this person, if it hasn't always been like that and there's been a marked change over the last few years, it's worth coming onto the page. We also do sort of 10 minutes with Sam where we can have a little chat where I can see somebody and give them more advice.
Would they go to the Curl ID website for that? Okay, perfect. Yeah, great.
And they can have a little chat. But also for them just to sort of figure out, is this something that they've always had? If they always had fine hair, then they're likely to always have fine hair.
Okay, I hope that helps. All right. Second challenge. We've got another 4B hair. It's currently being worn out naturally. And they say, what is the proper way to do hair treatments? All I do is use oil on my scalp and wash it out after with shampoo and conditioner. I'm laughing, but that's all I do as well, Sam. Is there a proper way?
Yes. So that in itself, if you're putting something onto your scalp that's an oil, depending on how that oil is being applied, because an oil actually coats and it aids moisturization rather than actually having any therapeutic benefits. You've just applied it to the surface of the hair or to the scalp, depending on the type of oil. The molecules of the oil, they may just sit on. Some things like coconut oil will actually penetrate into the strands of the hair. And onto the scalp, but it all depends how you're applying them. My thing would be if you want to use a treatment, you're using a treatment conditioner or a mask. And these are applied either pre, so they're applied before you wash your hair. And you will have instructions, so follow the manufacturer's instructions. That's either applied to dry hair or wet hair or a post. So that's something that you put on afterwards and is left on for a set amount of time. But just applying an oil to your scalp is not a treatment.
That's a no-no. Okay, good to know. I'll also stop doing that. No shade to you who sent that in. Thank you. Okay, next challenge. They have 4C hair and it's natural and curly. This is a chunky one, so listen in. They were told some years ago that bleaching their hair wasn't damaging to their scalp and health. Whoever told you that is not a friend. Do you know what the long-term bleaching does to your health? It feels just as dangerous as constantly relaxing hair. I get chemical burns with the bleach and with the relaxer. When my hair is damaged, I cut it and treat it, but it's the long-term effects that really scare me.
Okay, so this lady, they are bleaching and relaxing.
So I think they were saying that they have bleached in the past and have relaxed in the past. And by the sounds of it, both has caused them scabs or both has caused them damage to their scalp. But the question is, do you know what long-term effects bleaching has to your health?
So obviously there's not much out there to say because most of these things are not supposed to get into our bloodstream.
Right.
But she mentions scabs and, burns and things like that. We're breaking down the scalp. So that's not good. And personally, I wouldn't bleach and relax at the same time.
No.
Because both of those things degrade the integrity.
I can't imagine that's a good idea.
And that's going to cause breakage.
Yes.
As it stands at the moment, I don't know of any sort of long-term health issues because the manufacturers will tell you that these do not get into your bloodstream. But personally, something that is causing burns and wounds
of any kind should be...
one should not be done.
Yeah.
Dark hair, you're bleaching a lot. That's not one application of bleach.
No.
You're literally probably putting on 2 or 3 because it's got to remove
you have to. Normally it's like one setting for about 40 minutes, and then oftentimes it's like another, maybe 1 or 2 for another up to an hour. So
I mean, that's just not good.
No.
That's not good. And I think sometimes we've got to realise the limitations of things.
Yeah.
So, the pigment within dark hair is very dark, so therefore you've got to take out all of that pigment from there, the pheomelanin and the euromelanin. And in doing that, you often, with darker hair, you get it to red.
Yes.
A brassy colour.
Yes.
And then you're bleaching it again.
Yeah.
That is just not good. So
I
think stay away from the bleach.
It's okay. No chemicals, guys. No chemicals, because I think...
Just done professionally.
If we're doing chemicals, we don't do it. And I'm saying it's collective we. I do it too. So we can't do that anymore. All right, guys? Great. Last challenge. Oh, this one actually killed me. Whoever this is, I might need to get them on the show. They're so funny. So they have 3C/4A hair. She says, I've recently done a big chop due to motherhood, and all my nutrients are being transferred to my adorable blessings. As adorable as they are, they have left mummy with a scouring pad dressed with coconut oil. And growing up, I had good length to my hair, but now I'm struggling to reach that length I once had. Help her, Sam.
Okay, so actually there's very little information there. So rightly so, when you have a baby, it does take a lot of the nutrients. If you're breastfeeding afterwards, that's actually going to take a lot of the nutrients out of you. So what we're not kind of getting from that is what's actually happening to her hair. So she's cut it off, and she's treating it well. So shampooing it, right shampoo, make sure that she's doing treatments, applying products that are actually able to smooth as best her cuticle afterwards, to retain the moisture. There's no reason why her hair won't grow. If she's finding that her hair is thinner, she could have deficiency, so it could be systemic. So whenever we're looking at someone, we look at whether it's systemic health that's affecting it or external factors. So she actually has to look at what is she doing to her hair. And also with motherhood, maybe she's just not got the time. So even though I did mention that coconut oil molecularly is small and gets in the hair, that's not the best thing just to put on the hair and scalp her daily, because you're actually then going to seal the hair and it's not going to get moisture from anywhere. So you need to make sure that you're using products correctly. And washing, I know that we're kind of told not to wash our hair. Washing our hair is the best way to hydrate the hair.
I have heard that actually.
Into the hair.
And
obviously with the correct product. And then you use masks and conditioners afterwards to make sure that you seal the cuticle. Cold water, as you know from my myth busting.
I do know. If you follow Sam, you'll get all of this knowledge.
And just to make sure that she's not applying too much heat, which she hasn't actually said any of this. Heat, there's no chemicals, but just making sure that there's nothing going on with her systemically. There's no deficiencies. Check her iron levels, her ferritin levels, make sure that her vitamin D, because she might not be getting out. And, people of colour, we don't absorb vitamin D very well.
Agreed.
B vitamins. Having a blood test just to make sure all her levels are really good. And then speaking to a professional and getting someone to actually examine her hair. Because that is very little information. And there could be nothing going on, and it could just be she's chopped it all off. It's very tight curl. She's not realising her length, or there's an issue going on.
I mean, that's very good advice, considering she didn't give you much, Sam. So I would say whoever you are, you're welcome. That's very expensive advice you just got there. Okay? Amazing. Thank you so much. This has been an eye-opener in a way that I was hoping and knowing it would be. And I'm just so grateful, because one of the biggest issues in our community is the knowledge gap. And if we can fill it one podcast episode at a time, then hopefully we can save scalps everywhere. So I appreciate you so much, Sam.
Oh, thank you so much, Paige, for giving me this opportunity as well.
It's fine. This has been great. And as I say it's fine because I've gotten a lot myself personally from this. So don't worry at all. If you guys do want to get in touch with Sam, just a reminder, you go to www.curlid.com. Follow them at, you can go on Instagram at the Curl ID, and then TikTok, I believe, is the Curl ID and me. Fantastic. And then that way you can just drain poor Sam dry, as I have been doing privately. And I think really the last piece to the puzzle for today is going to be looking forward at the next episode. Erica from the Muse Curl Salon is an incredible woman, and she's investing a huge amount of time in a project called the Cross-Cultural Curl Collective. And this is going to be focused on training and education across every single type of salon that you can imagine, so that we as Afro and curly head people have more options with places that we can go and more confidence with the people that are actually doing our hair. So this is huge, and it's something I've been moaning about for a very long time. So I'm very excited to speak to Erica about that. Remember, that will be the first Sunday of every month that I'll be publishing. So mine and Sam's episode, of course, as you now know, because you're listening to it now, is April 2nd. So it will be May 7th for the next. And I am so excited to be able to draw as much information out from Erica as I possibly can. In the meantime, guys, please oil your scalps, tighten your bonnets, and protect your edges. And I will speak to you soon. Bye-bye.